Hello everybody, welcome to my presentation. In this video we learn how to change a positive statement into negative and different types of negation in English. When we want to say that something is not true or is not the case, we can use negative words, phrases, or clauses. Let's start. Negation is the process of changing a positive sentence into its negative. This is formed through adding the word not after the first auxiliary verb in the sentence. As a review, the auxiliary verbs in English are the do verbs, which are the do, does, and did. The have verbs have, has, and had. The be verbs am, is, are, was, and were. And the modal, which are shall, must, might, can, will, and would. Negation can be applied to all verb tenses that we have. Pay attention when we don't have an auxiliary verb in the sentence. We add the auxiliary verbs do, does, or did. Remember, the subject is the person or thing doing the action. For subjects I, you, we, they, or any plural noun, we use don't in negative form. For subjects he, she, it, or any singular noun, we use doesn't in negative form. For the past sentence, in order to change into a negative form, we use did. For example, in affirmative form, I play with my brother. In negative form, I don't play with my brother. In affirmative form, Hassam swims in the pool. In negative form, Hassam doesn't swim in the pool. In affirmative form, Jana finished her homework. In negative form, Jana didn't finish her homework. Now the next point is, if you need to use the modal verb in the negative form, then just use not after the modal. All right? Don't add any extra words most of the time. There's one little exception. I'll explain that to you. There are no contracted form for may, might, and ought to in English. So the only exception is with the verb. With the modal verb have to, there if you want to make it negative, you need to say, you don't have to do this, okay? But with the other ones, we just say, you cannot, you could not, you may not, you might not, you should not, you ought not to. It's important to note that we don't always need to use do or does when forming negative sentences. For example, here we have the subject I followed by the helping or auxiliary verb and the main verb, which is guess. So, in this case, we need just to add not after the auxiliary verb. For example, in affirmative form, I dare guess many facts. In negative form, I dare not guess many facts. Next example, in affirmative form, he used to come early. In negative form, he used not to come early. Another one, in affirmative form, I need to go home. In negative form, I need not to go home. In this example, there is no auxiliary verb, so we have to add one. We have just the main verb, which is need. When forming the negative, I would say, we do not need his signature. Try to take note of the following examples. Let's start of the first one, the present simple tense. For the positive sentence we have, I play football. If you notice here, there is no auxiliary verb in this sentence. So, in order to change into its negative, we need to add a do verb, so the negative sentence for now be, I do not or don't play football. Do is used because I is our subject. Next is past simple example. For its negative, we have I did not or didn't. For example, in affirmative form, I played football. In negative form, I did not or didn't play football. For the future simple, in affirmative form, I will play football. In negative form, I will not or won't play football. Another one. In affirmative form, I am going to play football. In negative form, I am not going to play football. For the present progressive. In affirmative form, I am playing football. In negative form, I am not playing football. For the past progressive, we have, in affirmative form, I was playing football. In negative form, I was not or wasn't playing football. For the future progressive, in affirmative form, I will be playing football. In negative form, I will not or won't be playing football. Another one. In affirmative form, I am going to be playing football. In negative form, I am not going to be playing football. For the present perfect simple, we have, in affirmative form, I have played football. In negative form, I have not or haven't played football. For the past perfect simple, in affirmative form, I had played football. In negative form, I had not or hadn't played football. For the future perfect simple, we have, I will have played football. If you notice here, there are two auxiliary verbs in this sentence, will and have, but since our rule says add, not, after the first auxiliary, then we should put it after will. So the negative sentence will now be, I will not or won't have played football. Present perfect progressive. In affirmative form, I have been playing football. In negative form, I have not or haven't been playing football. For the past perfect progressive, we have, in affirmative form, I had been playing football. In negative form, I had not or hadn't been playing football. The last one is the future perfect progressive. In affirmative form, I will have been playing football. In negative form, I will not or won't have been playing football. For our application, change the given affirmative sentences into negative ones. With the first one, he is playing football. Its negative is, he is not playing football. The second one, she was reading a book. Its negative sentences. She was not reading a book. Next, they have cleaned the house. Its negative sentences. They have not cleaned the house. The fourth one, she will travel to Europe. Its negative sentences. She will not travel to Europe. Let us practice more examples. In affirmative form, she is angry. In negative form, she is not angry. In affirmative form, I was afraid. In negative form, I was not afraid. In affirmative form, he will come soon. In negative form, he will not come soon. In affirmative form, they can help you. In negative form, they cannot help you. In affirmative form, she has finished her work. In negative form, she has not finished her work. In affirmative form, they had taken money. In negative form, they had not taken money. In affirmative form, she speaks English well. In negative form, she does not speak English well. In affirmative form, they help her. In negative form, they do not help her. In affirmative form, he obeyed his brother. In negative form, he did not obey his brother. In affirmative form, she drank tea. In negative form, she did not drink tea. In affirmative form, I remember her name. In negative form, I do not remember her name. In affirmative form, she lives in Banha. In negative form, she does not live in Banha.